Nigerian law permits harvesting of organ without owner's consent, medical expert tells a National Assembly. The chairman, Global Pro-Life Alliance, GPA, Prof. Philip Jamanze, has revealed that the National Health Act of 2014 permits human organ poaching without consent in Nigeria. Jamanze, an international academician of science, expressed fears that over 10 million Nigerians may die from legalized organ poaching without consent within 10 years if something urgent was not done to amend the act. He cited sections 13, 20, 43, 45, 48, 51, 53, and 58 of the NH Act 2014 as contentious sections of the Act, which ought to be amended for the safety of Nigerians. The former chairman of the Catheter Medical Practitioners Association and proprietor of Chidikon Medical and Research Center, Owerri, stated this in his lengthy submission to the National Assembly on the urgent need to amend the National Health Act. Njamenze said there are national security implications if the act is not amended. And of course, given the law and given the fact that there are exceptions to the law or to the rule and technicalities, given how corrupt Nigeria is, I do understand his worry. This is very much dangerous. Wow. He said the first part of this project in Nigeria would provide the human organs to keep the rich Western patients alive until they succeed with the therapeutic human organ cloning. Organ cloning using embryonic stem cells is a projected big business worth $30 trillion, 1/3 of world economy for the Western economies within the next 5 to 10 years of operation. Wow, this is the anticipated Western economic recovery plan of the G7 countries to get ahead of Asia. This program is supported by most Western governments and many billionaire investors, deceptively projecting billionaire philanthropic works. How does this work? To clone a tissue like a heart, you will need to collect the nucleus that stores all its genetic materials of the heart of the sick patient and place it in a human ovarian egg obtained from a woman through IVF. The new cell is put in tissue culture to grow into a heart, which could be transplanted to the sick person. The process of transferring the nucleus to the egg is called somatic cell nuclear transfer. Has this worked? Yes. SCNT was applied in experiments of the dolly, the sheep derived by cloning. To perfect the SCNT process for therapeutic cloning, they will need millions of human ovarian eggs. It has been forbidden in all Western countries to collect the ovarian eggs for this experimentation. But it's now Nigerian women that they want to use. But the law, like the British embryology law, permits using human eggs from Africa and those of animals while banning the use of human eggs from Europe and America. It has been stated that at least 100 million ovarian eggs poached from 10 million Nigerian women would be required annually for about 5 years. These Nigerian women will shortly die thereafter from complications of ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome as a result of the multiple hormonal injections that stimulate the ovaries given at the IVF clinics. The ovarian eggs will be obtained through IVF, and women will have to go for the procedure if they want to get pregnant or they're donating their ovarian eggs. The IVF clinics in Nigeria are proliferating under the sponsorship of foreign owners using Nigerians as front for ovarian egg harvesting. What then would get Nigerian women to go for IVF? For this purpose, they instituted a massive vaccination program funded by the philanthropist, billionaire, and his related reputed international and national organizations. The vaccination for polio and tetanus has at different times been coupled with sterilizing agents, even though denied by the international agencies, facts suggest otherwise. The billionaires bankrolled the UN agencies for 20 years and staffed it with critical manpower working together to achieve this goal under the UN banner of deception that captivates most Nigerian officials. Red flag. And I was going to get to this point. Fact is, all this can happen. It's not surprising that crazy things like this are happening in this world. And of course, due to greed, whatever economic profit that they want to gain, it's great. But what also puts us at risk is integrity and character. And if you have people in government, as stated and perfectly described in this interview, that to achieve this goal under the UN banner of deception, it captivates most Nigerian officials. And it's like, okay, fine. This is, why do we have to be scapegoats over a small percentage of those that are in power because they want to gain money? Do you see why it's important to know who you're putting in office? And to think, this is crazy. We're thinking vaccines for polio and tetanus, and of course, people have their theories as to accepting charities, especially from the UN and other charitable organizations in the world, because it's like, why is there such severe, intense interest in Africa? Like, what is it? And look at how deceptive, manipulative, and cunning these individuals are, because the same laws they will not pass in their own land, they're trying to go to other countries where such laws are enforced to do the own thing that they wouldn't do to their own people. And this is manipulation, corruption, and of course the mentality behind slavery in the first place, because really, why could they not use their own people for cheap labor? That is literally where it all comes from. But then you now have those representing you who are, I don't even know at this point where these people come from, if they're even Nigerians at all, if they're even human beings. But that is a very big problem. And to think that for every year they'd want 10 million Nigerian women to give them eggs for 5 years because there's a projected $30 trillion. What? This is obviously very bad, and of course, well done to this, this man for bringing this to the National Assembly. But it's like this man has done his best, right? But how frustrating is it, because he's going to a bunch of people who don't really care, to be honest. And it's like, it's very sad, very, very sad. And it's a very, you just portrayed the country and the government lawless. It means our lawmakers are criminals. But the thing is, do you just think that these laws, you have to be intentional to make these laws? These laws does not just happen where, you want to poach and, allow for organ harvesting without the owner's consent. Who mistakenly puts an act like that and enacts it? Like, who does that? And if you're going to try to think that this is not deliberate, then I don't know what to say. Because this is not just calling for a review, but first of all, those who enacted this in the first place, what were they thinking? Put what you think about it in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.